Getting to watch the project and the characters grow and develop over the past 2.5 years has been such an eye-opening experience.
Best Interests is a social realist drama telling the complicated story of how you look after the best interests of a disabled girl with a terminal condition.
This is about a family, the Lloyds, who have 2 children. Eldest daughter is Katie, youngest daughter is Marnie. Marnie has an as yet undiagnosed form of muscular dystrophy.
As she's getting older, her lungs, her strength of body interior is deteriorating.
The hospital have to make a decision whether she's going to live or die. A best interest case is when the family and the hospital disagree over this, and that's what happens in our story.
What happened?
1, 2, 3, 4. So the dad, and he sees that she's in pain and he sort of feels like they are prolonging her death. The mum sees not just signs of life, but signs of, a consciousness.
Did you see that? Andrew, she moved. She felt me and she moved.
They have this decision to make, and it pulls them apart.
They end up in court battling to make a decision about what is in the best interests of Marnie. So it becomes this great big court case with a disabled child at the heart of it.
This kind of dialogue and conversation between families, hospitals, disability, who's in charge, who's not in charge, how do we assign what is needed for an individual, especially a child, not of legal age, to make those decisions.
It's about family, the joy of a family. It's not all about just the doom and gloom of hospitals and making these tough decisions. It's also about the joy of a disabled child. It's no different to any other child. I think for me, that's what attracted me to Jack's script, was a sort of light and shade of this family who actually embrace life probably more than anyone because they know it's so precious.
It's obviously a very difficult subject, very complicated subject, very painful subject in lots of ways. But I think part of what Jack Thorne, the writer, has done very well is bring so much warmth and humour to it. And that was what really struck me when I first read it.
Okay, a few things we need to discuss. First things first, boys smell.
Thank you, Dad.
Secondly, they're mean.
No, they're not.
Best Interests, at its core, with everything stripped away, is a story of love and family love and how love can come in all different shapes and forms. I think it's very interesting how the show portrays that.
We see the story sort of chopped up over time, so we jump around through time and we see different points in the story of this family.
I think Best Interests is made unique by its mode of storytelling. I don't think that family conflict dramas are often told from the perspective of everyone involved.
I think the way that Jack has written this story has been so brilliant because you get to see it from a lot of people's perspectives. You get to see their point of view and where they're all coming from. Even though there are many different opinions of what should happen, there is actually no kind of right or wrong answer, and you do feel like each primary character is leading with Marnie's best interests.
My sisters are brilliant. Yeah. Well, most of the time.
And we certainly don't usually get to see the perspective of a child. Getting to view new perspectives of story and new perspectives of love that we don't see represented enough makes the show so special.
I think for Marnie's sake, we should at least consider it.
Pro-lifers.
No, great. So you've just jumped to...
I'm going to Google them.
Yeah, Google them. I'm sure they'll confirm your every prejudice.
Prejudice? What, we're anti-abortion now?
No, pro-Marnie! We're pro anything that is going to help her.
From the very first casting conversation we had, we talked about the fact that we didn't want actors that are extremely good at looking depressed. We wanted actors that brought joy and comedy to the screen, and thankfully we've been gifted an incredible cast full of comic actor greatness.
They've put together this cast that's just really funny people, and I just didn't know how I was going to get through it emotionally. I was really nervous about, you know, just being in that place, because, you know, there is lots of light and sweetness and joyous moments in it, but there's some really dark, heavy, emotionally draining moments, and I just felt very nervous about it, because you kind of have to go to this weird place.
Music?
Do you mind if we don't?
So once we got a bit further into the idea of Best Interest with Jack, we knew that we had to sort of bring on a director to really make it the kind of full cinematic drama that it could be. And Sophie Gardner, my colleague at Chapter One, has worked with Michael Keeler on Chimerica, and we both admired his other work that he's done. He's a really fantastic visual director. He's a great storyteller, and everything that he does is beautiful to look at, fantastic performances.
The biggest challenge during the shoot was, of course, it was incredibly emotional material. It was often quite upsetting and difficult to film, not just for me, but for the crew as well. So one of the big challenges was creating a safe space for the actors to be emotional and express themselves.
We've had experts. We've had them on sets helping us do our job so that we can tell their story as well and as honestly as we can. One of the student doctors who was actually a nurse in real life, and she was just gently going, oh, your sleeves rolling down, you were never like that. Things like that I absolutely love.
Michael brings a great humanity to the project. He always reminds us to always keep in mind what's at the core of the story. The family, the love of the family. So everything we shoot, he's like, well, that was wonderful, but let's make it human, let's make it real.
Working closely with David Radiker, my DOP, we try to create a sense of light, of brightness, without being overlit. And we try to give a sense of mood and darkness without being too dark. And he was a great ally in really making the camera find the story for us. Audiences can expect a drama which delves deep into what it is to be human, what it is to be a mother and father, what it is to be a disabled child. There's laughs, there's great chemistry between all of our family, but there's tension too. How do you deal with the most stressful thing you can ever imagine?
The integrity of the storytelling, the integrity of the performances, the integrity of the production company to bring this story together. And if it does everything it did to me on paper, reading it, being part of the filming, of making it, that's art, that's storytelling, that's life. It's a lovely thing.
This show has not exactly been a joyful experience. I don't think you could be looking death in the face, as this show has to, and be joyful, but it has been a show told with such truth and warmth, and I feel incredibly grateful to be part of the telling with these enormously brilliant people.